toxic masculinity.
Warning! Public safety crisis coming as officers leave the force.
Okay, well, this is a relatively short story, but the point is just that...
Are they leaving force or they leaving guarding black neighborhoods?
No, they're leaving the police force.
Well, that's horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. So this was on Fox News. I'm just going to go ahead and play the clip from Fox News. I normally don't just play clips from other media outlets, but in this case, I think it's appropriate because the guy being interviewed is pretty sharp here. Let's see.
Big cities, small towns, villages, we interact with officers who are either injured physically or emotionally and psychologically. Now, that's the area I want to talk about right now is the psychological and the emotional injuries that are taking place, because they are part and parcel of why cops are leaving at record levels. And it isn't just NYPD. It is quite literally every major city in the country. And I've been, during our discussions previously, Harris, I forecasted a criminal justice crisis, and it is barreling towards us. A public safety crisis is coming towards us like a freight train, and we are seeing this is just the beginning. And I don't want to sound like about the sky is falling, but the sky is falling.
All right, so here's why I wanted to talk about this. Valeria has mentioned before, like, if black people don't want police patrolling their neighborhoods, just take police out of the black neighborhoods, which I disagree with, because I know that there's good black people who are the victims of these crimes that we do need to protect. And I don't think that...
Okay, well, then send only black cops there. Every time if they will shot a black criminal, you won't have this huge protest.
That may end up being what we have to do. But I will also say that if we do have a limited number of police and they do have to start, stepping away from the black neighborhoods where there is all this crime, you're going to have a problem where, because I think you're going to have a lot more what they call white flight. Right, white flight is when white people just move out of the city and they move into the countryside because they don't want to be around crime. And so you get these black neighborhoods that are just become more and more and more infested with crime, and they take over more and more of the city, and white people just move out into the suburbs, move out into the countryside. And we've been talking about it. We've been talking about where we're going to move, and we're definitely moving out of LA because, I have this Citizen app that tells me what crimes there are around us, and within maybe a 5-mile radius, there's probably 4 or 5 stabbings, shootings, some kind of armed something, some kind of somebody's gotten shot every single night.
That's why I deleted that app.
Yeah, it was, and I don't like Valeria to walk around outside downtown, and she gets mad at me for that. But what happens when she gets shot?
You asked me to buy you a drink today, so I had to go outside and buy you a drink.
We do have a small market that's literally at the bottom of our building that she can exit, and she has to do maybe 10 feet, 20 feet between 2 feet between our door and the door of the store. So that a distance, even though I do worry about her, even that distance, I probably I shouldn't take that risk, but I don't think it's the biggest risk in the world. But there always is some kind of crazy homeless person out. It's always, every single time.
I remember when we were in Boston, we lived basically in a center,
mm-hmm.
and there was one crime in how many days we were there for 4 days.
From the app? Yeah,
and it
sure.
was one crime.
But it was during coronavirus and there wasn't anybody out.
Yeah.
But yeah, every single time you go downstairs from our building and you leave our building doors and you take a right and you go take another right into the little market downstairs, it is a little bit like playing football. You do have to kind of weave and dodge and try to get around the homeless person without touching them, because you don't want to get that filth on you. I don't know what they've got, but homeless people...
Maybe this is why we are immune to coronavirus, babe.
We've been infected by so much filth from downtown LA. We can't even catch coronavirus. That is interesting because homeless people don't catch coronavirus, really.
We were discussing this before because they live outside, they breathe
It's
fresh
air all the
air,
time.
they don't wear masks, they have a
Yeah.
free food available for them. They live this
Homeless people
paradise.
have got to have the best immune systems on earth too, because they just catch whatever is out there
100%.
all the time. All right. Basically, the point I was trying to make with this story is that cities are becoming so disgusting because of, like, you can hear sirens right now. Right now.
The problem become worse while COVID because all these lockdowns, no people on the street, and homeless people just start shifting here.
Oh yeah,
Like when we moved
there's
in,
many more
when
little
we moved
encampments.
in, there wasn't homeless.
They actually
tents
cleared
around.
the homeless out at the beginning of COVID. They like were trying to put them in
They
hotels.
were trying to start camp behind our building. They cleared them all out.
They cleared everybody out. All the streets around here were clean. It was amazing. And then as they started to come back, they actually filled in places they weren't before. They didn't
Yeah.
live before, because the homeless came back before the rest of the population. So there were a lot of places that people normally were hanging out in that there was no people, and so the homeless just took up camp there. And so now there's many more encampments around LA and places that they weren't before. So yeah, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. The homeless problem's worse. The crime problem's worse. Our city's particularly bad because we have a district attorney that's just absolutely appalling.
I'm really thinking of moving out, if not LA for now, because I have that situation with my immigration stuff. Maybe we have to move out to Orange County,
Yeah, we might
which
move to
has
Orange
a
County.
Republican mayor. I think she's a Republican.
Yeah, we've considered San Diego. We've considered Orange County. We've considered going back to Oregon.
I consider Orange
Valeria
County for
wants to
now.
go to Texas, so that's been a consideration. Florida.
Desperately.
That Florida's good. Well, the only reason she wants to go to Texas
Have you
is because
been
it's
in
cheap.
Tampa, Florida? It's the other side.
I have, yeah.
Is it nice in there?
I didn't see much of Tampa because I was there to see someone. So
Who?
Lou Shaber.
Damn. Okay.
It was not a woman. It was a guy. I went there for his wedding.
Guys, no drinks today because he still did mention his ex. Not yet. It's still not the end of the live stream.
Yeah. So there's a lot of nice places in this country. And sadly, a lot of the really nice places, it was funny. I actually once tweeted something like, why are all the best places in America overrun by Democrats?
I asked this.
And a lot of conservatives who live in conservative areas were like, what are you talking about? You just haven't been to where I'm from. And I looked up some of the places that they're from, and I'm like, these aren't nice. like if you go to where I'm from in Oregon, it's like beautiful evergreen forest, waterfalls everywhere, unbelievably beautiful coastline. Man, it looks
Cold.
like Malibu. It is cold, it is raining, but it's a rainforest. I mean, the vegetation, it's one of the most beautiful places you'll ever go in the
I
world.
agree 100%, but it's cold.
It is
in
cold.
there.
Not in the summer.
It's cold.
It's not in the summer. Not in the summer. If you go to Hawaii, I mean, we've never been to Hawaii. We both went to Hawaii last year for the first time ever. Seriously, one of the most amazing places we've ever been to. I didn't think I would even like Hawaii, but I freaking love Hawaii. It's just a jungle. I mean, it's just amazing. And completely overrun by Democrats. Oregon, completely overrun by Democrats. Washington State, completely overrun by Democrats. Southern California used to be... I met an Uber driver who was... It was funny, actually, because he was not a racist guy. He was like a Democrat. He was like he had been raised a Democrat. He grew up Democrat. He was a white guy, though, and he was in the 50s in LA, and it was all white people out here at that point, right? And he's like, this was like the nicest place in America to grow up. It was amazing. Growing up in California in the 1950s, he was like, was like a utopia. Anything you want to share with the class, darling? Anything you want to share with the class?
No.
Yeah, you look at your phone again. So
I am...
thought it'd be something exciting.
Stock market, sorry.
I'm going to take your phone every time we do these shows from now on. Thank you. Anyway,
But how
so
am
this...
I going to take pictures of the super chats?
Oh, that's over. That's over. So this guy was saying that back then, before a bunch of different, it became like racially integrated in LA, back when it was all white, he was like, it was like the most amazing town, and it's deteriorated. And his position was that it was because there were so many immigrants that had come in, there were so many people of different races that had come in and made the city worse. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't around there back then. I obviously don't share his perspective necessarily, but it was an interesting perspective that that this place used to be so amazing, and now it is absolutely horrible. I don't know if it's a racial problem or if it's a problem based around some cultural issues or some other kind of issues. I mean, that would be something that would be interesting to explore, but certainly it's not made better by this idea that, like, oh, let's let the gangs take over. Oh, let's let murderers go free. That certainly doesn't help anything. And there doesn't seem, it almost seems as if somebody has decided LA is so far gone that it's better just to let LA burn than to try to fix it. And so you've got all
It's
these,
easier to just burn everything.
burn it down, start again. So that's kind of where the Democrats seem to be. There is a concept in Marxism that what you do is you make a country so miserable and so terrible, and you make it so insufferable to live in, that people will actually choose communism as a desperate means to get out of it. Despite the fact that they might be wary of communism because they've seen it not work in other countries, they'll still choose it because the situation that they're in is so bad that they're desperate and they'll try anything. And so that's what the communists were trying to do in America for a long time, make America so miserable. And so I suspect that this is what's this guy that is the district attorney in LA? What's his name?
Shoot.
Well, anyway, this guy, and there's a guy in Philadelphia that's the same. I think his name is Krasnow or something like that. Anyway, all these poros people that are being put into these cities, I think that's actually their intent. I think their intent is actually to make the cities so insufferable around the country. Like, your job is to make this town miserable. Your job is to make this town miserable. Increase the crime rates. Create Black Lives Matter rights. Burn down the cities. Their idea is to make life so miserable that we embrace communism. I don't think that's actually going to happen. What I think is going to happen is that just the rich people, the successful people...
Gascon?
Yeah, Gascon. Yeah, Gascon. George Gascon. He's the district attorney out here. And I think he's trying to... Because he did it in San Francisco. He made the place so terrible it was unlivable. But I think he's just going to push the successful people out of the city. Everybody who makes money is just going to leave. And yes, you will burn the city down, but you're going to burn the city down full of like ethnic minorities, poorer people, lower income people, people who are, who can't leave. They're the ones that are going to suffer. It's not going to be the rich people. It's not going to be the successful people. They're going to leave. So I don't know. I mean, I can't tell people not to leave the cities. We're doing it.
I want to live this.
Yeah, we're leaving it. So
Florida.
Maybe we'll figure it out. But anyway, yeah. If you hate cops, and if they're just making things worse for everybody all around. And at the end of the day, Democrats are destroying the country, and I think they're doing it on purpose. All right, shall we move on to the next story?
Yeah. Socialism. 91% of Venezuelans struggle to find food.
Thank you, Doc. That was amazing. And you remembered 91% because I've written 90% on there. Study. Over 90% of Venezuelan households struggle to find food. So I think you guys are all aware that Venezuela embraced communism. That was an amazing transition.
Well,
I didn't even do that on purpose.
United States doing the same thing right now.
That's what I just said. I literally just said that.
Sorry. Well, when I hear Venezuela, of course we knew before that they were struggling to find food. It was like while COVID and stuff. I remember pictures of money everywhere on the streets. Everywhere. Like,
their money was worth
isn't
nothing.
It
it's worth nothing.
United States doing the same thing right now? Throwing money into illegal immigrants? Like giving stimulus and printing out more and more money?
Yeah, we're going to get... they're trying to make us Venezuela. Yeah.
Like, and I saw this article, people found like in the old house, like some person was collecting dollars, like hiding it. It was worth $400,000 back then. Now it was $60,000.
Right.
So money just being
Oh, it's much worse than that. It's gotten even worse. But I have a very, very good friend from Venezuela. His name's Eduardo, and he is one of the most conservative guys I know. And the reason he's so conservative, well, one, he's a religious Christian. What? You're gonna get your phone again? But secondly, his mother still lives in Venezuela, and she's still suffering under this regime. And it's just absolutely despicable what they're putting their people through. They were the richest country in South America. Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.